Hey YouTube, how is it going? Offset first in the house. I'm not gonna be lying when I said I fudged it just a little bit. I was shooting for 5 o'clock, and when I was clicking through the things to set up the meeting, it didn't really dawn on me much that I didn't change the time. So it's like 4:40. I was like, oh, that gives me 3 minutes to be here. Spent Electrons, thank you guys so much for popping in on such short notice. That obviously means that the YouTube algorithm is doing, well, not algorithm, but excuse me, the notifications are working the way they are supposed to. Things have been getting done. So I don't know if you were watching Riley earlier. I was. He's funny. I always like watching his stuff. But while I was watching him, things were getting done in the background here, and literally feet in front of me. I failed even into Riley. There he is. I was just saying I was watching you earlier while I was getting some stuff done. So please excuse me for just a second. I fudged it so bad that I didn't even get a chance to get my drink of choice ready. We will be busting into that here in a moment, but I am going to run inside the house and grab my Red Bull. So give me just 1 second while I do that. I'm going to take you guys with me even, so don't feel bad. I'll probably break up at some point, but actually I want to two things. Save that for later, actually. I love you, baby. All right, I have my things. I'm finally caught up and back to where I'm supposed to be. My apologies. Hey, there's 6 of you just waiting around for me to do dick all. Huh? What do you know? You deleted that test stream? Damn. Bindi, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate that. So today we're going to have some of this. It's the parabola. So I'm pretty fortunate. About maybe 15, 20 miles away from me, I have this brewery called Firestone. You may recognize that name if you've ever watched The Bachelor. Andrew, I believe his name was, Firestone. He was one of the earlier contestants on that show. I've gotten to work with him a few times over the years. He's actually a funny guy. I think they're actually still together, so one of the few in the proud. But in either case, I'm going to enjoy me some of this as soon as I can figure out how to get it out of the box. There it is. I need me some implements. So this stuff here, don't need the box anymore. This stuff here is basically like a wine. It's 14-something% ABV. And it's like a stout more than anything, but it's pretty good. Some pretty good stuff. So this is what we're going to enjoy today once I figure out how to open it. Because I don't actually have an opener in here. I always end up just doing something goofy like this. Because, you know, why wouldn't I? There. Nothing stands between me and my beer. Not even a anyway. Oh yeah. Ooh, that is some thick stuff. It's almost like syrup. I have a glass here we can use. Don't worry, it's alcohol. See that? See that? I mean, it's got a little head on there. It's more like a stout, almost like a Guinness in a way. So if you ever get a chance and you see that stuff, it's not cheap by any means, but definitely check it out. You know, I can't say that I've seen it. Yeah, right? 1,000,001 uses. Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of that, so while I was watching Riley's thing going on, I was busy in the background doing, guess what? Hey, what do we got here, everybody? This is not something I can do with you guys. Like, I don't really have a way to like show it, and all you would see is this blue light that's just, you know, whatever. I don't have it prepped right now. Like I said, I kind of messed up and was shooting actually for like a 5 o'clock on this. I have some videos on my phone that I was gonna move over really quick so I can show them in real time. But since I biffed it, we won't actually see that. But what I can tell you is, you know how you've done it right? You've done it twice. I'll show you what I mean by that. So here's the first set. There's nothing really wrong. This one actually came out just fine, to be honest. But the back one did not. I biffed on some of my math. But I was pretty brave. I'm not gonna lie, I was quite brazen to just go balls deep with this first set anyway. I didn't do any test cuts. I just went with the last known good setting I had for some other faceplates I had. And, you know, immediately it wasn't cutting anything because my machine does not do very well with white. Does not do well with white. So I went with the white background, or the white face with the black background, right? So it's black on the other side. It's this really micro thin layer of white. Well, when I first turned it on and it started going, it didn't even scratch it. It's like this stuff here is, this Trotec stuff is gnarly. Like it does, you can rub it all you want with a rag, you know, or something like that, and it doesn't give a rat's ass. So that was kind of cool. But you may or may not be able to tell. You can probably tell, especially if you look at these like side by side, but you can see those holes are a little bit closer there. I don't know what I was thinking, but I moved them down on the original one. I had them down too low. I kind of like this anyway a little bit more. It just kind of makes more sense, right? I don't know, whatever. So I had to move these down because since these holes went up, I didn't have enough space to put those, and then I had to shrink that the writing down just a little bit. It still probably could use some refinement, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but whatever. So I use this kind of as a test piece here, and I did something that may or may not be noticeable. If you look on the lower one, you can see it's a little bit darker. Now, the reason it's a little bit darker is that I actually painted inside of there with some marker, some black marker, and then I wiped it off with some alcohol and whatnot. And this stuff, again, like I mentioned, it's so damn stout, like you can rub it with some sort of like a solvent or something like that, and it really doesn't care. So it wipes the marker right off the thing. But you can see it's just a little bit darker than some of the other writing, but that's not an ideal way to do it. So I did a couple other test pieces. I was playing with some settings a little bit and, you know, got it to the point where it was satisfactory. It is satisfactory, and so that is now, so this is the original one. And I also, you can maybe see it on this one here too. So this is the original one. On this one, it's just a little bit darker in there, and that's again because I painted it with the, I didn't really paint it. I used a marker, right? But we're gonna go with this one here, I think, even though this faceplate is okay. Another thing I didn't really like about this, I don't know why, but it like kind of spreckled like that. You would just see it because a quarter of an inch of this side is gonna get hidden anyway, but you would just kind of see that. But I'm not as happy with this one. So that one's going away. It'll turn into a scrap piece that I can use either as a template for some stuff or whatever. But there you have it. So yeah, this one just came out much cleaner. Oh, and I changed the D a little bit. I did that instead. It just didn't look right with the slot on both sides. So I just kind of ran it up like that to make it look like a D that way. So I was much happier with that. And the writing came out good. And then as I was going through this and going, okay, cool, this is all great and stuff, I wonder if the knobs that I have are a true white, you know, on the thing. Because we're going to have to go with black knobs, right? Obviously, we got to go with black. You know, we could. All right, this is a good time to vote. There's only 4 of you in here, which, whatever. So 4 of you kind of got a little more power than perhaps the rest. Let me get the knobs out so we can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here. Where did I put those things? Right here. Sorry. I'm pulling my shit together. I don't have any white knobs, so you're just going to have to excuse me in that regard. And I don't... Yeah, I absolutely do not have any... Oh, wait. What is that? I see a black one. Is it the same as the others? It is not. Maybe it is. No, it's the same. All right, anyway. So this is the cream knob. Imagine this is basically that color of white with a black. We could go with white knobs. Or imagine this black knob with a white, like an actual white indicator. What are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? You tell me. You tell me what you would rather do. Part of me, I love the cupcake style knobs, so I'm sorry you don't really get much of a choice in that regard. But you can help me decide if we're going to go with a white with a black indicator or a black with a white indicator. Riley's going with white, so we're going white on white. We're 50-50 right now. We need a tie. There's 4 of you, so we kind of got a couple people left to go. What do you mean not sure, actually? So now he's más o menos, more or less. I kind of like the idea of the white knobs. The only thing that is scaring me about that is it I don't know. Maybe it will work. I don't know. I'll order both. So we got 2 for black, 2 for white, and offset. He put in. How do you guys get those like symbols like that? So we got 3 people for black. Well, no, that's 2. 2 for black, 3 for black. All right. So basically, we're going with black. I was kind of figuring we'd have to go with black, just to get some sort of breakup and everything. That and I mean, come on. DVII is also in black. We're not quite ready to put these on yet. I did a little bit of testing. So this little piece right here started life like that. And then I turned it into an L with an L. So it bends in 2 different directions there. Because I knew I was going to have to do something like that. So I got to make 3 of those and make them freaking work. Again, this amp is kind of complicated in the regard that it is going to have to be put together in a particular order. So the way I did these here, it's kind of not practical. Depends on the Tolex. I am shooting for baby blue. I really want to go baby blue. Let me see if I can get that out for you guys. We're not going with the freaking racing green. We're not going with black. I'm sorry. My amps don't do black. But I've got this baby blue color here. That's kind of what I was hoping to go for. Does that make sense? Black looks good. I agree. So this is the baby blue that I got. And then, of course, keep in mind we're going to have aluminum bezels. And then we'll have this for our corners. And then walnut on the inside. So you can kind of see the motif I'm kind of going with here. Very classy, very Eastery. So very Easter-like, I guess, if you will. But that's what I'm shooting for. I have also this other color here that may or may not suit people's idea of fun. Oops, I'm bopping things around. My apologies. Did I move stuff? Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry. I'm going to tweak things just a little bit here. Oh, you little shit. Come on. There you go. All right, so I have this color as well. This is like a seafoam green. I'm not into the seafoam green for this one. It works great with the brown and the walnut, but I just don't know how well it goes with the white. I'm sure it goes fine with the white, but I do have seafoam green if that isn't, if that is something that we have to go with. I have a bit of this racing green color as well, the British racing green, but we're not going with the British racing green. I apologize, we're not going with the British racing green. As much as everybody might like it. So, you knock it off. All right, so sorry. Anyway, yeah, I am kind of leaning towards the baby blue with the everything. Let's get into the actual cold beer. Does that make sense, everybody? So let's kind of just show how this stuff is going to fit. I did a little bit of work off camera, as I mentioned, but it was just to kind of make sure everything was going to work. So obviously those guys there will be hidden behind. So this little guy, where did it go? This little guy here, my little thermistor thing, has to go in first. So this has to be installed more or less permanently first. Say it, don't spray it. And then, of course, everything just fits on there just like that. All right, so then we got these guys. So we'll have those go just like that. I don't really have too many other things in the back there that I have ready to put in there, but you get the idea, right? Everything's gonna go in there just like so. It's gonna be all pretty like. And then on the front, same really. Nothing different there. So just kind of fits in there just like a glove. I put the little, I meant to take it out, but I was rushed. So there's 2 more holes that I have to drill. I have to decide where 2 represents a clean fender. You can get baby blue, cupcakes not. Ooh, that'd be kind of cool if I could get the baby blue cupcake knobs. You want to talk about an Easter amp? Holy hell, that would be an Easter amp. I don't know if I'd go with the matching knobs to the Tolex, although that would be kind of funny. I'm kind of thinking the white and black is a good motif. It's the inverse of a high watt, and it's kind of the inverse of most other amps. So it's kind of the direction I'm leaning. So that guy's in there. We need to drill a hole for the ground spot here, and we need to drill another one that is for the grounding spot for the remainder of the amp. As I recall, it was the 10th hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's the 10th hole. So that is a diode, that is a diode, that is a diode, that is a cap, that is a cap. And then we're going to have, if I'm not mistaken, the ground or the, no, that one's probably the HT that feeds everything. Hold on, this will probably help refresh my memory a little bit here. Okay. So yeah, this one's the HT, this one's the ground, and then this is, I guess you would call it grid A and grid B. Grid A, grid B. So this one here, like right in this general vicinity here, is probably where I would want to put a ground if I was going to put one in that vicinity there. And that ground would be for the HT. I don't have to do it there. That's the thing. So the HT and the other stuff really doesn't have to go there like that. Like not the HT, the center taps. I'm sorry. Oh yes, we are back at it again, Lone Dog. Thank you. So I'm trying to like work out where we're gonna put, the last like couple holes I need to drill. I don't know if I want to do 3. Another hole that I could drill and probably should drill is I have to decide if I want to do it this way or not. So there are a couple different ways you can do the output section. In theory, you put the center taps on their own thing, right? So by the center taps, I'm going to try to carefully move that up there. And carefully move this here. And I think you guys can see that. I'll make it so you can. All right, so the center taps are these guys here. The green one is the center tap for the heaters, and the red and yellow one is the center tap for the secondaries, so these red ones here. All right, so those are the center taps for these guys. This guy here is the bias supply, and it shares the same coil or winding, if you will, as the mains or the secondaries. So that red and yellow one, that's what that goes with. There are a couple different ways you can do it. You can put those on their own and also take the node that feeds the phase inverter. You can feed it to that node as well. So you can put all 3 of those in the same spot. Or you could, I guess in theory, separate things a little bit. You can put these on their own. You can ground the node for the phase inverter and all that jazz on its own. and then you can tie all the other stuff. You're trying to put the higher current stuff all together in one spot, all the high signal stuff. So technically speaking, where these goes is also where the ground for the speaker wires would go. Now, I have some choices that I have to make about how I want to do that. Because I could also ground the speakers over here a little more locally as well if I wanted to. As opposed to running a wire that goes all the way over and shares this spot over there. There's a bunch of different ways I could do it. Which way is right? Technically speaking, you should... how do you explain it? I talked about it in my grounding video, and we call it... you do like your local star. So if my hand is the grounding point, the star would be the point at which everything converges at, right? So this is the one grounding point, and everything comes to it, right? Makes sense? So that's what the concept behind star grounding is. One centralized point, and everything goes to it. The problem with star grounding is that you end up with all these things that have to converge into this one spot. Doesn't work very well. So the second option then is what they kind of call local stars. So you have a grounding point here, and there's a series of things that ground to that. And then you have another grounding point over here for another node or another thing, and all the things locally ground to that point. And then maybe there's a third one. Then what you could do, right? So instead of grounding all of those directly to the chassis, they just all kind of converge into one spot. Well, then you can take that node, and that third one that we put over here, and put all three of those into a final star ground. So you kind of have like a spanning tree, right? You got all the different nodes, they go to their local grounds, and then those local grounds go to the final big star, the big boss, right? You could do it that way. So which one is actually correct is semi-debatable. Realistically, as long as there's no noise, you don't have anything to worry about, right? All we want is to not have noise and ground loops. That's why we do not use the back of the pots. We do not use the back of the pots to put a grounding bus or ground to, period. We do not use the back of the pots. They are not meant for that purpose. They are meant as a shield. I can kind of show you why, actually. If you look, you can see that this pot right here has a little wafer, right? See a little wafer there? And you can see that this shield here just kind of clamps around it, right? It's just got these little fingers that clamp around it. The base there, which is that other little silver piece, isn't physically connected to the back of the pot. It's literally just compressed or clamped in there. That's the only thing holding that thing in there, is that it's, clamshelled together. Makes sense? So it's probably not ideal to depend on that thing as a way to ground that pot. So that's why you don't ground those things. Now, there are some pots that do a little bit better of a job, and they have a slightly different construction where they're not a clamped fit. But you can imagine a scenario where, let's just say, because I've had it happen before, that those little crimp fits or whatever just come loose over time. They don't solder them. They're not spot welded. It's just literally a mechanical crimp. Well, things that are mechanical tend to come loose over time. So do not use the back of the pots. That is a big no-no. I am a fan of bus. So if you're gonna, do a ground bus, that's totally cool. And then you just have all your grounds kind of lay to it. I do kind of a similar version of that. That's all these black wires here are for, is these are treated as a bus, more or less. So they all kind of go where they need to go. And then there's different nodes on here. On this thing here, I believe it was 2 different nodes. One deals with the output sector, or the input side of things, and the other with the, how would I put it? The phase inverter and the other subsequent stages and stuff like that. So that. So that is something I have to make a decision on, and I haven't quite done that yet, which is unfortunate. But I know that we need to put at least 2 more holes in this thing before we move on. One of the holes I'm not as worried about if we have to do it afterwards, but I think what I want to do is get this hole drilled real quick. So let's kind of find a home for that. So if I go from the outer edge I believe it was 7/8 of an inch is what I was shooting at. Yeah, 7/8 of an inch. So from the outer edge in, we'll go 7/8 of an inch. And then in this direction here, I want to go, I believe it was, let's just see, 2 1/8. So 7/8 and 2 1/8. That's what I'm going to call it. So 7/8 and 2 1/8. So what that is going to do is get the input ground. So the input on this amp, I'm grounding on its own lug. And I probably should move it a little bit because that puts the hole directly in that spot. Decisions. Hold on. Let's kind of see what the offset on those things are. My apologies. I'm thinking ahead here. And I know that you guys can't see ultimately what I'm thinking of. All right, so this little lug right here is what we're going to use to ground our input. Now, I was trying to find where the hole would go for the bolt or the nut for it. Ooh, okay. I'll have to check that out there, Riley. So that, I'm not kidding, that mini PC I got, I wish I could see the thing. It's yay big. Like it's literally like 5x5 or something like that. Maybe 6x6. Hold on, I can tell you right now. I'm like a genius or something. It's 5x5 and it's about yay thick, so 1.5 inches thick or something like that. Killer freaking machine. But there are multiple different versions. Some come with Intels, some come with AMDs. There is a version that they made or make that is oh, okay, that's something else. Okay. There's a version that they make that is Intel, and it has an Intel Arc built into it. So it's got a video card, GPU built into it. But in any case, as we can see, this thing here has a little bit of an offset to it. And I wanted to see what that offset is if we do that. So if I go from the center, the offset is basically 3/8 of an inch. Pretty much 3/8 of an inch. So I have an option. I can go an extra 3/8 of an inch that way and put the hole so it was still on line with the 7/8 in, which I kind of am feeling. Or I can do it the other way and come a little bit further in. Honest to God, it really doesn't matter. It's just a freaking hole. But it's gotta be right, yo. There we go. It's gotta be right, man. So, as you can see, that would just kind of go down there. And I kind of just want it to be one of those things where this right here, this is our ground. So that's going to go down there. And then the ground from the input jack would just drop straight down as well. So I want to try to get it so it drops just about as straight down as it can. And I think that's what I kind of want to do, is make it so that it's like that thereabouts. So we're going to keep it 7/8 of an inch in, but that's going to move the hole to right about, well, I got to move it 3/8 back. So I said 2 1/8. Is that what I said? I believe that's what I said. Hold on, let's find out. Let me refresh my memories. 2 1/8. So 2 1/8 minus, and I want it to go this way. I want it to install in that orientation, just like that. Does that make sense? So that means I got to move the hole back that direction, which means if I go in 2 1/8, that means we're going to go, yeah, it's 3/8 of an inch from tip to stern. Okay. Sorry, I know that was a little brutal, but that's how we do this. I think a lot. Too much. So 2 1/8 minus 3/8 means we're going to go, so 1, 2, 3. It's going to be right at 2 or 1 3/4 inches. It's not a bad round number. And then 7/8 of an inch from the edge. Damn, I almost nailed it. So pretty much right there. that's where that little thing will go, and that'll go underneath like so. Yeah, like that. That's how it'll go in there. All right, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. I know there's a lot of back and forth on this stuff. My apologies, but let's see here. By the way, this gets back to the subject I brought up a few weeks ago about clean power. Yeah. For the things we try to, yeah. I'm just gonna do it. I'm getting brave. I'm just gonna freaking. Close enough, right? This thing might be getting tired. I've had this thing for, I kid you not, like 20 some odd years. So it's done well. It's done its service. It's probably time for a new one. Although it's not that complicated of a tool, it shouldn't have those kind of problems, you would think. But whatever. Well, whether I wanted the hole in that spot or not, that's where it's going now, so yay. Cool beans. Oh joy, let's go to 7/64 for this one. I'm just going to drive up through the sizes here. And let's see, I think the final boss on this one here was the 5/32, or was it the 9/64? It was the 9/64. Yes, 9/64, not the 5/32. All right, final boss. All right. Yay. Okay. And now we need to deburr. I'm all about the deburring. I'm going to go with this guy to deburr. I think that's well deburred. And let's make sure it's deburred in here as well. The only downside. How well that deburr? I don't like how that deburred. We're gonna deburr a little more thoroughly. So the only thing is a little bit of a bummer about that. Not that it's the end of the world, but that does put the hole kind of underneath this guy here. I'll show you what I mean. So this guy goes here. So that means that it's kind of underneath it, which I guess isn't the end of the world. It doesn't matter, right? It's down there. But when you're looking at it from the top, like, you can just barely see it. Whatever. Let's get some 2Ls. I need... What do I need? I need a lot of things. If I only had a brain. I think I'm going to go with the 1/2 inch. Oop, don't go in there. Or do I go with 5/16? I think historically I've gone with the 5/16. That's really all I need. This is a pretty important ground. I don't really want to mess with it too much, but let's just see what that's going to look like. You know, I think we're going to go with a 1/2 inch after all. Or 3/8, excuse me, not 1/2 inch. My apologies. 3/8. We're going to go with a 3/8. The reason being that I don't want there to ever be an excuse for that thing to come out. That one needs to be pretty darn permanent. That is a muy importante. You little brat. That is a muy importante grounding point inside of the amplifier. So we're going to make sure it's going to be a good ground. A good kill. That's what we always want. Just a good kill. Was that... What movie was that? Was that the one with... shoot. What's his freaking knuckle? The Trump hater. He was in The Taxi Driver. Can't remember. Robert De Niro. Was that Robert De Niro? A Good Kill? Or am I thinking something else? I can't remember. Don't quote me on anything. I'm not a movie guy. I'm a lot of things, but a movie guy is not one of them. Other design of a transformer. There's toroidal. If that's what you're asking. Toroidal has its ups and its downs. I wouldn't say it's better in every way. It's certainly not a slouch, if that's what you mean. It has its thing. It's like, as with everything, there's a place and a time for it. Technically, it is a better one, but it can have other problems. They're not immune to problem. How's that? They are better at some things, but they are not immune. And I feel super duper special. I bought some new tools. And I want the 5/16. Where did it go? There you are. Yikes. Sorry. I bought some new tools. I bought these thin wall. Well, they say they're thin wall. They're never thin enough. But in either case, I got that. And I'm just going to get it snug. And then we'll, we'll get it lined up. So that's kind of snooged. And then we're going to turn that where we want it. Like that. And then so now you can see there, it's turned the way we want it. And it looks pretty straight to ma. And now we'll go through here and tighten up. We'll do the tighten up. See if I can get it without moving the thing in there. I guess it should look. It did not move. It's got a pretty good bite too, so I imagine. Click. Ta-da! All right, there's that. All right, what else do we got? So I said, I know. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So the laminations can buzz, or mechanical buzz is what they call it. I don't think we've gotten beyond toroidal. Yeah, just like you're saying. I can't recall. I'm not a transformer expert by any sense of the imagination. I don't sit there and study that kind of stuff, mainly because I know I'm not going to be making them. There's a gentleman on here. His name is Dan. I believe it was Dan, or there was another gentleman here that actually would rewind transformers, and that was kind of his thing. He liked doing that. I haven't had the kind of luck that Andy has had of YDNA fame. I think the biggest missing link in some of these is the way that they are varnished, or dare I say potted. Potted, I guess, is the terminology for it. So if you look on this thing, it looks like there's kind of like that waxy, shiny substance or whatever on the laminations. A good company will do it under vacuum. So they'll set a bunch of those things under vacuum, and then they have some sort of special varnish, generally heated, so that way it'll flow into the laminations and consume all the space. And they'll let it saturate there for, X amount of time under heat. And they'll pull it out and they'll set it aside. I think that some companies literally just take the damn thing, set it in the dip for, 15, 20 minutes or whatever the hell it is, and then take it out. Like, they don't put it under vacuum or whatever. So when it's not under vacuum, that doesn't mean if it's not under vacuum, that means that the air isn't evacuated, which means that the resistance of air and the viscosity of the fluid, the varnish or whatever the hell it is, probably isn't going to permeate and, impregnate itself or ingress into every single freaking corner that it can. So that obviously might be a problem, especially when you get laminations that have the propensity to vibrate, right? And it literally means that there's no mechanical connection to them, and they just sit there and they vibrate. That's all it is. Because the only thing that's holding those laminations together are those four bolts on the other end. Traditional, yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm a pro at it by any means. So use a 12AU7, motherfucker. Hell no, Leaderman, we're not using your friggin' 12AU7. That is the extent of my knowledge of them. I can't tell you like the lamination thickness. I know that they have like different like orientations for the laminations and stuff like that. They have like an E style one, and it literally looks like an E, and it has a cap on the end, but it's like an E with an E, and that's how they get the different things. And then they have a T version, so it looks like a T, etc. There's like different lamination types. There's different lamination thicknesses, yada, yada, yada. There's what they call the air gap coils and stuff like that. There's just all kinds of different little things. But I think when it comes down to the brass tacks of it, it's really how it was all put together. And the downer is, as I mentioned, there's only those 4 bolts on the outer edges to compress all that stuff together. That's not enough. So if they don't varnish it in its entirety or completely, then yeah, it's going to vibrate. The weather part. Oh, so Andy spoke. This is what he wants me to get to. So Andy spoke with Hammond because he was running into some problems with it, and they kind of fessed up. They kind of fessed up and said that during the summertime, it's warmer, right? So the stuff is expanded. Right? The parts are a little hotter, so it's a little larger. Whatever. It's expanded and hotter. Everything's hotter, right? So when they dunk the shit in the varnish or whatever, it ingresses better, it gets deeper in there, all that fun stuff, right? Well, during the winter time, it's colder. All the metal's, compressed a little bit more, everything's a little bit tighter. So when they put it in the dip, which is also possibly colder, it is now thicker, which means it has less ability to flow and ingress itself into the laminations, right? So, and then of course, mercury, I think you're going on to like air pressure or whatever, but so yeah, during the winter time, if they make these things, they have a higher propensity to vibrate, because when it gets warmer, the things expand, and those whatever, yeah, like he's saying, no core saturation. But I don't know if I'm just lucky. I haven't had any noisy transformers yet. That's just me. Now, we have not made any progress, really. I don't know if I want to put another hole in here yet. I need to do some more research first before I decide if I'm going to put a hole there or if I'm going to just do it right over in here. So for now, we're going to move past that. I'm going to get this cleaned up and out of my way. We got the one hole done, though. We know that that's going to work. And let's just double check my work and make sure that I did a good job. That is lining up like a dream. I can see that it lines up very well. I guess the angle of the dangle doesn't help you. To my eye, it lines up with that inside hole there. And then, of course, we're going to have this guy that goes alongside of it. And if I did this one right, it should line up with that orientation. As I get my head in the shot. Don't mind me. It's just my freaking brain. It's just my fat fucking noggin with my fat fucking fingers getting in the way. Sorry. And that is exactly in line, and this one here will basically jump out and go to this outside hole. So this one here will have a ground wire that comes down, shoots in, and goes into the inside hole there. This one will have a ground wire that comes out and shoots down and goes into... It's a real show, fucking now! And goes into that outer hole. Perfect! We got it aligned very nice like. Quite happy. Quite happy. Transformers get put in the oven anyway. We're talking crazy talk when it comes to... Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's not untrue, though. I mean, if you hear the stories about, like, Ken Fisher and stuff like that, you hear those stories where he would... I think it was, like, only 1 in 5 Transformers or something like that was good enough for him or something like that. 1 in 5, like, do the math on that. Like, It's inane. Like it's 20%, you know, which means he's got like an 80% rejection rate or something like that. I can't say that I have had enough experience with different transformers. I mean, I've built 4 or 5 of the same amp at this point, and even with the different models or the different models of transformers that I've used, they're so close. I'm not going to sit there. That's the other thing too, is like hysteresis is a thing, right? So if you take 1,000 of these resistors and measure them all, you know, they're all going to be within 1% because that's the tolerance. But, you know, hysteresis is hysteresis. So if it's off by 1% one day in one direction and it's off by 1% the other direction the other day, and you have 1,000 of those things in there, you got that 1% difference in every single little part. It's the sum of all parts. So there's just no way to actually say with a level of certainty, short of literally putting a finite signal into this thing. Like you put in a test signal that exposes every little thing about it that you possibly can get, pink noise or something like that. And then you measure against, you know, the DUT, the device under test, versus your, you know, your litmus or your, what do they call it? I can't remember the term for your, you know, the one that you're comparing against, right? Like, holy shit, come on. Yeah, right. Ferrite beads. They don't do what they think they do. I think he literally just did that to fuck with people. It does get rid of like RF noise and stuff like that, but if you're that worried about RF noise, he also did that thing where he has like one that's a ceramic and one that's like a you know, like a polyester film or something like that. Or was it whatever? He used 2 different types, and that was like the thing. Okay, I need to get rolling on this back end here. This part I'm not really looking forward to, but golly, you guys are freaking troopers. There's 9 of you here. There was only 3 earlier. That's how fucking boring I am. I'm trying to keep up with the chat and all that fun stuff, but now that I'm getting into think mode, that might be less of a reality. But the way these are going to work, I got clever. I don't like these little things that they give you. They're really, really small, and they only got like this small little castle nut thing going on for them. Show you what I mean. You can kind of just see it's got that little castle nut thing going. So I got clever, and I found a few washers to eat up some of the space, so I don't have to thread that thing of 10 miles. But that'll give it a nice fat area to bite on. And then these washers, like, they just fit. Like, it just fits around that thing. It's perfect. It's perfect. And they're stainless. Gotta be stainless. Oop, not that direction. This direction. I'm in debates. I think once I get these things tightened up, I might, or probably will, put some sort of either super glue or some other sort of tack around them to keep them from coming loose. These are meant to be in there forever. Meant to. That doesn't, you know, it's up for debate on whether that's actually going to be reality, but that's the hope. I don't want else. So let me show you why. So these are the things that they came with, and it literally looks like a crush ring. I don't know if you can see it. It's conical. All right, can you see how it's like conical? I don't know. I'm trying to get it so you can see it. So it's like that's not a washer. I'm sorry, that's not a fucking washer. We're not going to use that. So that's why I went the direction I did with it. Now, if only I could find the frickin' ass end of it. I know it's here. There's one. There it is. Found it. Found it. Also note, I do not have the back panel on. These will pull out another 1/16 of an inch. So never mind where this sits depth-wise. It's going to pull back a 1/16 of an inch. So this thing here, I mentioned earlier that I made, I had to take this thing that was an L and turn it into a, I don't know, it's something else now. But that'll go on there. And now it's going to be too tight because I need the freaking panel on the back to actually make it fit proper like majors. No current equals no, yeah, mechanical, yeah. No, I see what you mean there, but transformers, if they're noisy, are going to be noisy, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whether it's pulling current or not, they will be quieter if they are not pulling a significant amount of current. But even at idle, they're still going to have, you know, a level of noise. All right, there's that one. I don't know if I dare try to bend these things ahead of time or not. I think it kind of just makes sense to just do it ahead of time. And as I recall, I had to get pretty crafty with how I did it. I think I did it kind of like that, and then I don't want to do it on something soft and malleable. That would be ungood. I'm trying to remember how I did it. That's more or less what's going on here. I think that's more or less what I did, is I just put it like that, and then I just kind of bent it. All right, so it's going to go like that. Oop, I almost went the wrong fucking direction is what I did. Oops. So this needs to actually bend down like that. So what we're going to do is this. There it is. Ha ha ha! There. That's pretty dang good. I'll take it. And then you can see how these things are going to be a brat and a half to put on. This other one here was a bitch and a half to put on. So these things here are meant for, they're not quite as, I have to open the holes up. That's what I mean. Because they aren't actually meant for going on something quite as beefy. Golly, that thing is freaking in there. I'm probably going to have to do something clever, but I don't really want to be clever. I just want it to go on. Come on, baby. Damn. That thing is... Let's see if I can do this. No, that's not going to freaking fly. Where's my little baby hammer? There it is. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a fucking nail. Isn't that what they say? Sorry. All right, one more to go here for that. So yeah, I got a whole bunch of these things. And I did confirm that these little rubber boots will still work that way. It's a little interesting to get it on there, but it will still function. Okay. And just to also confirm some of your suspicions, yes, it will fit with these things in there. So that's going to pull back again, like I said, another 1/16 of an inch. And it looks like I might need to go a little bit tighter with that one even still. So I need to get it right at the ass end of that thing. Let's do another one of these. We're experimenting here. I want to do this, but I don't want to fuck anything up. We are experimenting here, so I'm not really worried about how many of these things I burn through. It's got to be right. That's the important thing. Right is right. Anything else I could really give a fuck about. But right must be right. So I want that thing to bend like right at that spot there. So we're just going to get right there. Yeah. Is that more like it? Yeah, that's a little bit closer. Cool. QQ. There it is. And then I got to open up the end a little bit. I am still going to solder the wire in there. So never fear. Never freaking fear. Okay. We're going to complete that job with a little tippy tap. Tippy tap. Just a little tippy tap. Right? Yeah. Okay. Just a little tippy tippy tap. There we go. All right, we got one more of those to do. That's this guy here. That means somewhere in this mess of shit, I've got one more of those ends somewhere. I think that's this thing right here. Yes. Okay. You dirty little. Oh my gosh, really? Thank you. What's going on? There's 8 of you. Oh my gosh. All right, sorry. I'm kind of letting this chat do its own thing. Song changes. Here, that's all. Luke evades the truth. I evade 0 truths. My truth is what I'm living. I evade 0 truth. Let's hold on here. Let me get back up here a little bit. Armchair engineering. No, dude. Yip yap away. It's all good. Oh, no kidding. Passed out. How about hitting the like button? Let's get a freaking like for the ATEC mofos. Come on. Yeah. How hard is it to hit the like button? I know this isn't very exciting for the layman. You know, somebody who has no freaking clue what the hell it is I'm even doing. But I can tell you that if you're into guitar amplifiers or a guitar player at all, like this might be kind of right up your alley, because I'm a guitar player, you're a guitar player, we're all guitar players. I'm just thinking more or less like, if you're interested in the equipment that you own and how it works and functions, this channel is probably right up your freaking alley, because we talk about all that kind of shit. Yay! I need to open up the end a little bit. Let's see here. Just a skirty skirsh. There we go. Come on, baby. Get on now. It's crazy how just like a little couple love taps like does the job for it. It's bullshit if you ask me that I have to do that. Where did I put that other one? Right here. This one. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. There it is. Brutal. There's no reason why I should have to do that. That is on there, though. I can't say it's not. All right. There they are. I have no idea how we're going to wire this up at this point, though. So it's pretty self-evident at this point that this black one here is going to be ground. That one just goes to ground. But the red ones have to go in between it. So this one is going to share the ground. Well, it's going to go to the cathodes, but the cathodes are going to come in. I believe I just pointed at the cathode anyway. No, the cathodes are at the top. My apologies. So 1 and 8. So these things are kind of upside down and around the other way. So I'm not mistaken. This one's number 1 and that one's number 8. So it's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 and 7 are the heaters, and then 8. 1 and 8 are going to get jumped together. 1 is actually the cathode. 8 is no connection. Okay. Now, in the case of a, well, I say no connection. That's a 6L6. EL34s require 1 and 8 to be tied together in order to work. 4,000 subs. We'll see about that. It'd be kind of cool. I'm into it. Don't get me wrong, but at the rate I'm gaining subscriptions, it kind of feels like it'll be, I'm averaging about 100 a month. So we're at what, 3,160 right now. So by the end of the year, I should have right around 4,200 subs or something like that. Thereabouts, right? If by some reason, excuse me, I managed to get an influx of subs beyond that amount, I'd be quite shocked, but we'll see. I'm super excited if that happens. but I am not obviously going to try to force the issue. I did get a couple more membership subscribers, I should say. Huckleberry, if you happen to watch this, thank you so much for becoming a subscriber. I appreciate that. She is on my Fuel the Fire range of subscription. So I have two levels now. I have the $6 version and the $1 version. The $1 one is called Fuel the Fire. It's just, thank you. And then the other one is like, here's some real money to really try to do something. It's called the Build More series, or Build More. But in either case, I'm super stoked about either one. Now, here's where it gets a little challenging. So I need to put a 1 ohm resistor that goes between the ground and each of the each of the cathodes. So from pins 1 and 8, I got to go over to some place because they got to ground together. I might put I don't know if I want to ground those separately or not. Decisions I have to make. Those are the kind of decisions I have to make. Part of me wants to just ground it like right here and be done with it. You're never going to see it. It's kind of out of the way. But I might come back to that after I can make some more decisions. How far? We're an hour into this. Let me get the 1 ohm resistors that I was talking about. I thought I already grabbed them out, but it doesn't look like I did. I did not. So these are the 1 ohm resistors that I'm speaking of. They come in a giant freaking thing. It's kind of goofy looking. Let's get that right in the middle. That beer is spanking right now. I'm actually kind of feeling a slight buzz, if that says anything. This thing is literally like wine. It's 4.1% or something like that. ABV 14.1. That's some pretty gnarly stuff. I'm usually not a one and done kind of guy, but damn, that stuff is pretty potent. Maybe I just needed to eat more today. Not that eating is a problem of mine. Oh, something get in my belly. All right, so these guys here, you can kind of see what the challenge is that I have to work around, right? The way that I can do this is literally do like a little L type thing and have it shoot over to it. I don't like having YouTube showing up on my bank statements. Oh, well, I'm not asking. It wasn't a thing. Don't worry about it, dude. It's all good. I understand. It's all good. Part of me wants to just use a wire, right? So I would prefer to use like a wire. So I'll jump here and I'll jump here, and then I'll have a wire that jumps across, and then another one that comes down, right? It just kind of jumps down. I can't quite do it that way. Damn it. See, that's the thing that gets tricky about this. I kind of need to have each one of these on its own thing, because each one's got to go to the hot side first. And then each of those will then jump over to this guy, which will then jump to ground. Right? Does that make sense? So there's two connections that'll come out of this. No, that is incorrect. One of these will go to there, like that. The other one will go to the other one. I got to remember how the fuck I do this. I'm just trying to think in my head how we're going to work this out in the future. I don't want anything that goes in that type of angle, and I would prefer to have this on a wire on both ends. So it would come out of here, so we'll put like a little loop on the end here. The wire will attach to it, and then this thing would just kind of sit in the middle there, and another wire would come off the other side and connect there. I can already tell you that we're going to have to come back to this because it's going to take more thought process to really put all this together in my head. A lot of this has just been, seat of my pants, but I'm starting to get to the point where I actually have to do some serious thought. And I just know that right now, with everybody watching, that's probably not the right idea. Boom. And if you wouldn't mind, thank you. And then we'll do that one more time. click. All right, so we got our 3 little pieces made here, so that's a start. There's that. Did I hide that other piece? Yeah, I put that other piece away. Cool, we got those, we got that. We got that hole done up. We know that the backdrop thing's gonna fit. I have an option. I guess I could, in theory, put the thermistor in place and just leave it in place with the wires all flopping around and everything. I don't know if that's a wise idea because that thermistor will get beat up on a little bit. And when I mean beat up on, I just mean like literally it'll be sitting out here in open air more or less. So it's easy to tag that. Or, I don't know. But I am freaking fried, I think. It is 5:46. I have literally been out in the garage since about 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning. Closer to 10. Because I did have my Red Bull and all that fun stuff before I come out here. But, yeah. I'm freaking fried. It is time for another drink, though. I think what I'm going to do is be a dickwad and pour this into my bira. But we're going to do like a little sacrificial portion here. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That'll put some hair on your peach. So let's just chit-chat for a few minutes. We'll kind of do a little roundup of what we've done. All right, let's just do some fitment. We'll just show kind of how things are going to fit. All right, so this is going to go here. So the faceplates, Andy, you should like these because they're kind of up your alley. I know you kind of like doing the white faceplate thing, but maybe you do. I don't know if you do or not. I know that you do kind of those faceplate things. Fonts are a bitch and a half, dude. Let me tell you. I know you don't like doing fonts. I don't like doing fonts. Like, there's a million of them to choose from. And which one is the right one, right? There's a million and freaking one. And there's just so many freaking different ways you could... It's so hard to come up with the right font. So let's just do this here. So we're going to slam this guy in there. These are not gonna, I'm not gonna leave this in here, by the way, but I want you to get a kind of an idea. Government has, wow, that's Orwellian for sure. I thought friggin' George Orwell was a crazy kook. Apparently not. Did I get his name right? Is it George Orwell? That's what the whole Orwellian thing is about. But, that's some crazy 1984 shit there, man. I want to be careful with this guy because it does leave a mark on the things, so I don't want to go tight. I just want to put it kind of in spice. Right? Click, click. Let's get a couple of these in. Andy, since you're here, well, I assume you're still here. Black or white knobs? Black or white knobs? Everybody so far is saying black. And I'm kind of in agreement. So black with a white indicator. Where's I want this one? And that's in. That's in. And perfect. Just like that, kind of, more or less. I think we still need to come up with a color for the, whatchamacallit? The jewel. But I'm really leaning towards clear. I'm really leaning towards clear. So it'll be like almost an amberish. If I use, there's two different colors I have. But if I use the incandescent bulb, is that the actual clear? Yeah, it is. If I use the incandescent bulb, it looks more like a... it's right around 2700K. It's pretty warm colored. Ooh, yeah, okay. But if I use the LED, I know it's 2700 Kelvin, or 3000 Kelvin or something like that. The LED one is really, really bright. I prefer the incandescent ones, but the incandescent ones are obviously, maybe it's closer to 2400 Kelvin with the incandescent, but whatever. So there you have that, right? Yeah. Hold on, let's get the knobs back out so we can see it again. We got a couple more people here now, so we can really kind of make a decision. I need to order proper knobs, unfortunately. So neither of those have their freaking set screws in them. That's alarming. So where do the fucking set screws go? I think I got a few extras sitting around. So never mind the cream color with the black. Just imagine a a pure white that's more white like the actual faceplate with a black indicator. And or a black knob, and again, never mind the cream colored indicator. It'll be a white colored, we'll go white. I'm kind of leaning towards black. Everyone else seems to be kind of leaning towards black as well. But what do you guys think? What do you think? Last chance. There's 6 of you here now. Andy, you better be fucking one of the 6. That means pay attention and listen. Answer me, meow. So that's up and in. That's down and out, baby. I'm leaning towards black with white as well. It just makes a little more sense to me. But you tell me. You tell me. I have to wait like a minute or two because that's what the frickin', whatever is. Oh shit. Passed out. He passed out watching me. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you pass out watching me? That's what he's saying is I'm fucking boring as dog shit. There's a lot of good information. So that's the thing. I try not to make it too, what's the word for it? Too much of a comedy show or too interesting. Black. Thank you, Vladimir. I appreciate that for stepping on in there. We got another vote for the black. It's going to be black with white. I got to find black with like a white indicator. So I'm not stuck on stupid with the cupcakes. I like the cupcakes myself. I think it's just a classy look. We can break it up. I have one of these left. We're not going to go with this size of them, but here's a Bakelite version, right? We're not going with a Bakelite, but or we could do, this is kind of the, what would you call it? Oh yeah, we're definitely not going with that. But this is kind of the orange style of indicator. Let's see what other black versions I have. This would also function, I guess. We're not going to use this style, but this is like orange. We're not going to go with it. We're not going Bakelite, but there's an orange style knob again with aluminum center. I don't like the aluminum centers. We're not going with that, but it's still not the right size even. I don't really have a whole lot of options in that size is the problem. Here's another cream knob, but this is the cheap shit. This is like something you'd find on a freaking igniter. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like this style of knob, but some people do. This is basically like, again, imagine just pure white with black or pure black with a white stripe, but we can go with that style of knob as well. So I guess that's another option that we have is what style of knob do we want to go with? Trying to see if I can find a knob that's kind of in that realm. Here we go. Hold on. I'm going to steal one off of my OCD over here. Because that's got the black knob with the white. So let's... Ooh, they used an Allen wrench. Those freaking little bastards. Let's see if they used American. No, of course they didn't use American. They used not American. Which means I gotta find it. don't know where I have it. I know I have it, but I just don't know. There it is. There it is. And click. But I'll give it to them. At least they're using a knob with the shaft on it, not the freaking... So they're not cheating. So this is like a real OCD. This is like a version, I don't know, whatever, the 02 version or something like that. But in either case, they're using not a knurled shaft and then stuffing a freaking one of these on there. So we could go with something like that too. Yeah. Click. Right? We could go with something like that. I don't really like that style, but it does function. OCD are the Davies 15. Yeah, basically the Davies 1510 style. Yeah. So what are you thinking? See, they went with a pure white, even though they got a cream colored thing. Maybe it was actually white when, no, it was cream colored when it came out. I think this is like a version 1.72 or something like that. It's been a while since I've opened it up, but it's the more sought after version. I know that. Before it was, I bought it just before they tried to cancel him. Story time, right? So, you know, right when COVID was coming out and there was a bunch of people like blocking the freeways and stuff like that here in like the LA areas, he made some sort of comment like I would just run them over. And you know, literally like 99% of the other Americans in the country are like slow clap, that's the fucking shit, hell yeah. You know what I mean? But of course, some of the less logical people were like, I'm saying less logical because it's the only nice way to put it, but you know, we're like, oh, how could he? Oh my God, he's inciting violence. Sure, yeah, because me getting to work and me doing what I need to do, but you impeding me is not violent. Silence is violence. Your silence is violence, motherfucker. Sorry, what? What were we talking about? I'm not that drunk. I know what I'm talking about. It's literally that, dang it. It's that kind of mentality that like baffles my mind. It's like, if you are going to sit in traffic in front of somebody, in front of a moving vehicle. I mean, did you see what they did in LA? Have you guys seen the news on that? So in LA, did I get that right? That was pretty close, huh? Yeah, it's a little further. I need to go just click. I think like that. Yes, sold. All right. So down in LA, they installed gates on the freeway to keep cars from getting onto the freeway because there's a No Kings protest going on this weekend. I think it might even be today. I could be wrong, but there's a No Kings protest going on this weekend. So in order to make it so that vehicles cannot go down the freeway and potentially hit, you know, individuals that are camping their asses out on a freeway. You know where I'm going with this, right? You've probably heard the Frogger joke of some sort, or, you know, why don't you go play on a busy street or something like that? Like, are you kidding me? If you are dumb enough to go out onto an active freeway or an active road where, you know, you barely pay attention. I mean, we know what we're doing, but we don't really pay that much attention to what's going on ahead of us. And you've seen those videos where at night, especially, oh, those are the freakiest ones. Those ones turn my stomach. The ones at night where there's an accident and, you know, the car's like literally in splitting two lanes in the middle of the road and a 5-car pile up ensues. Like those ones make me sick. That one sucks. But you know what I mean? Like, we don't really look that far ahead in our lives that, you know, if somebody that looks like a little speck up until the moment it's too freaking late, those individuals that are playing that kind of game, there's a reason why Darwin is a person that we talk about. We even have an award named after him. It's called a Darwin Award. Imagine that. I know we kind of went out in the weeds a little bit, but I mean, that's just the nicest way I can say something that, if you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. And playing in a fucking freeway is not one of those things. And the fact that the government, or the local governments at least anyway, LA at least, has to freaking stop cars from going out on the freeway in order to make that a safe space for these people to say what they need to say. At what point does my freedom to travel about get trumped by someone else's freedom to speak about? It's like, are you kidding me? Oh, well, so I guess I have a lot of European patrons, if you will. So it's anti-Trump. That's the easiest and most simple way to put it. It's anti-Trump. People hate Trump so much that they will find any reason that they can to hate him, and so they treat him like Trump TDS. Have you ever heard of TDS or whatever? Trump derangement syndrome. There are individuals out there that just hate the name. Like, it doesn't even matter if Trump like literally cured cancer and made it so, people can actually walk on water, right? Like, if that's what he did, they would still find some reason to hate him. Like, they do not care about any of the good stuff that he may have possibly done. I'm not I'm not either way, really. It's just, they hate him so freaking much that they'll go to the ends of the earth to express that. That's really what it comes down to. To the degree that if even somebody such as this individual here even seems to support him, like, I'm a racist, a bigot, and every other freaking expletive on the planet. Like, that's how far around the globe they go. They're stretching like far deep left. Like, that's the kind of craziness that goes on. So the no kings thing is kind of a whole, punch against Trump. Whatever, right? Yeah, 250 years ago. That might be what it's kind of based on. I can understand the idea behind it, like the whole oligarchy and, the, what do you call it? Totalitarianism or whatever, like all that kind of crap. We already know for a fact that, communism really just doesn't work. It's a cool concept. And then the whole, communism, what's the other term that they use? The soft version of it. I can't remember the other term that they use. Socialism. Like, it sounds great on paper. It never fucking works. The entirety of the world is filled with haves and have-nots, right? There's always a 1%ers club. There's always these different little clubs. And no matter how you look at the different economical systems, there's always that bottom freaking 75%. It's always the bottom 70 freaking or so percent, right? The top 10, 15, or 20% are living like kings and doing whatever they do, But that last 70%, fuck them. Those guys are getting raped every which way, sideways, from in any direction, positive, whatever it might be. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. It doesn't matter what type of system you have. That is how it is. So don't be a plebe. Don't be a sheep. Understand that the government is a government for a reason. And just like freaking Elon says, it's unfixable. It is unfixable. There is no right way to do it. There are better ways to do it. I think I feel like we're living in the better version of it. But I will be honest in saying that I don't really have a whole lot of faith in our voting system. The whole bullshit with, our governor here in California where I live. Come on. You get enough people, and it takes a good percentage of people to even get a recall to happen. And he still cleans house with it. Like they knew he freaking won seconds or the moments after the votes even opened. It was one of those things where it's really? I just don't see it. And then when you see how the number of areas flipped, they call them flipping. I don't know. There's just a bunch of craziness that goes on. So I don't buy into it. The CNN thing, the ABC, PBS, whatever, you name it, I don't buy it. So gotta go learn Freebird. Oh my gosh. There you are, fucker. I was asking what you freaking wanted for a thing a long time ago, but you didn't answer. So you don't get an answer in it. We're going with a black. It sounds like everybody kind of wants to go with the cupcake style. So what's this? Well, so Steven, yeah, no, like, so here's the thing. There was some freaking vote that we had recently in California, and I can't remember what it was for, but it was for something it was a touchy subject. But like the polls were supposed to close at like 8 o'clock or something, right? Like the polls were at 6 o'clock when they actually closed the polls. They'd already finished the vote. Like there's like, oh no, this thing already won. Like the thing that nobody wanted to win already won. It's horseshit. There's no fucking way that you could say that it was definitive at that point, because every Republican on the fucking planet, I don't know what it is about us. We always wait till the last freaking minute to put our things in the freaking box, right? And I put my shit in the box because I want that thing to go through a machine. But hold up, I was in the shower. I don't give a fuck what you were doing in the shower, dude. I've seen you take your phone into the shower with you. So whatever you were doing in the shower while you were watching me is between you and the phone. But you could have still answered. That was a good one. Come on. Zing! So in either case, enough of the political crap. I honestly don't care. I honestly don't care. It's all bullshit. I go with logic. We cannot control these people. They will not be controlled. The things that we want, they don't represent us. They are not there for us. We are a tool to get in the door. That's it. We are a tool to get in the door. So all we got to do is find the tool of them. We got to find the guy that's going to do the most for us that we want to have done. That's really it. So I kind of feel like we did the right job. Like, if there's no fucking way in hell that you can convince me that the other option would have been a better option. You cannot convince me. Now, I'm not happy with half the shit that's gone on. I think there's 100 million different better ways to do the same damn thing. But I'm not the one making that decision. And I'm also the one not responsible for that decision. So I don't have people literally hanging me or hanging effigies of me out there. I'll probably lose a half a dozen subscribers because of what I've just talked about. But if you are that hateful of somebody just because of that, well, you probably don't need to be here anyway. I am not that kind of person. I don't really care which way you swing. If you were a good person, I could care less what the fuck you do in your free time. Honest to God, I really don't care. As long as you're a good person. So just be a good person. Don't suck. That's all I can ask. I'm not asking anybody to freaking do anything out of the freaking, you know what I mean? Like, I do not wish ill harm on anybody and anyone or anybody. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. So this is going to go this way. I'm just showing you the backside now. It doesn't really matter, but I figure we'll just show the backside kind of put together a little bit. Get off my soapbox, nerd. Look, man, this is my platform. I do what I want. I'm just kidding. It's not really a platform. No, I hear it. I hear it. I'm human. I am human. Opinions are like assholes, right? Everybody's got one. Right? Is that the saying? I think I got it right. Pretty sure I got it right. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. And if assholes could fly, I'd be air traffic controller. So I showed you all the fucking knob choices, fucker. We talked about that. God damn it. And you guys are gonna make me, well, so I'm kind of actually thinking it might be wise, believe it or not. So I have these knobs here. They're cream, so they're not gonna work, but I need to get white. I don't really want to use black on white. I gotta get fucking knobs, all right? That's all there is to it. I gotta buy more knobs. Erg. But that is what it is. Hold on. We're not done yet, though. Hold on. Let's get this in here. You go right there like that, and then you go right in here. Yay! Ah, darn it. There's a freaking washer on that thing. It's like, why is that not fitting like it should? There's an extra washer there. God darn it. That one was supposed to be on the bottom is what it was. Yep. That wasn't an extra washer. It was just on the wrong side. All right. There we go. Now we are correct. All right. Hold on. Let's see if this thing is going to fit too. I want to know if this is going to fit. This is the only thing I haven't test fit yet, to be honest. So that goes in there just like that. Oh, except for, no, this one didn't need any washers on those. But this one was already kind of like tight to begin with, if I recall. Get in your, oh, there's more nuts, see? More nuts. Get off. Hold on, Riley, we're getting there. I'm off the soapbox, we are getting there, okay? Just bear with me while I pull my shit together, okay? Okay? And... oh, fucking hell. That's the thing that's gonna suck, though, is that fucking washer in there. I want this to go... ooh, ow. That was a little violent. Whatever. It's like that. There it is. Ish. Hold on. It's not quite in all the way. Like I said, I didn't quite actually test fit this part yet, so I might have to do some more refinement. And it kind of looks like... no, we should be good. Should be good. Should be good. Yeah, we're gonna be alright. She good. She good. But that one is like so far away. The other thing that's also kind of problematic right now is I didn't peel off the plastic yet, so all the plastic is freaking whatever. Don't you fucking laugh at me, fucker. Yeah, black cupcakes with white indicators. For shizzle my nizzle. That is where we're gonna go. I haven't taken the is that the one? No, that's not the one. Whatchamacallit off yet. Crescent wrench time. So I haven't taken the plastic off the thing yet, so it's all bunched up behind this thing. So that's not helping anything at all. In the slightest. And I didn't take the washers off of this side either, so that's obviously... no, it just hasn't gone in all the way. It's gonna work. I know it's gonna go in. It's fine tuning it right now. The plastic is not helping anything though. it so it's a reality here. We're gonna make it happen. I know. So I still have those washers on there, which they do appear to be a little bit further out than I need them to be. Let's try that. So far, everything looks like it's gonna fit. Yeah, so it's like totally gonna fit. See, it goes in. Don't you laugh at it, fuckers. That one went on. I felt it. That one's gone. So it was just the washers were too thick. The washers were too thick. Fucker. There we go. And then this thing is just still, it's got a, I can largen the holes up a little bit still. It's gonna fit, whatever. It's in there. Click, click, volume, volume. Okay. It is in the motherfucking hole. Like a glove. That is on there. Alright, so as you can see, that's gonna go there. Hold on. We got this one here. Watch this. Alright. It's tight. She's in there though. Boop. Motherfucker. Boop. That one fell in. Watch this one. Boop. Boop. This one's our slow blow. That one will fit right in there. Look, see? Everything fucking fits. He's not gonna pick up his phone. Alright, I kid. I'm teasing. Black cupcakes with white indicators. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. I'm gonna order a bunch of new knobs today. So never fear, Luke is here. So there is that. There it is. So it all fucking fits. It's a little bit tight. I did it tight. I told you know, that's how I roll. Fucking tight tolerances. I like tight tolerances. Don't you like tight tolerances? Nobody likes a fucking hot dog down a hallway. Just saying. Nobody likes a hot dog down a hallway. I have never had windburn. Have you had windburn? Daddy don't do windburn, all right? Daddy don't do windburn. I know there's a bunch of women right now like, oh my god, he is so gross. Fuck that guy. How is he fucking married? That's exactly why I'm fucking married. That's exactly why I'm fucking married. Lawsuit days. Bias ports till the customer's zapped. So fuck the guy, man. Shouldn't be if you don't know, don't play. I am gonna put I have a cover for these. Well, for that one anyway. The other ones you can't really hurt yourself, but so where is it? Here it is. So I had. Wait a minute. I gotta find. They haven't delivered them yet. Those motherfuckers. So I've got this guy right here. It's a Fluke amp jack plug set. It's crazy that they actually call it that. It's made by Fluke. It's like $20 for a pair of these fucking things. That's how much I freaking love you guys. Click. All right, right? So it's got this little, and it's not even that nice too. Like it's whatever, but it goes like that, right? So that's what I'll put there. And I got to figure out where they went or if they even ever delivered them. I don't think that they have because whatever, but that'll go there. So you'll get a plug so you can't freaking get your fat fucking fingers in there. You have to want to get fucked to get bit by that. It says HT for a reason. But then those will have, I cannot believe, hold on. I gotta know right meow. I gotta know right now. Are you gonna love me forever? I ordered a whole bag full of a butt ton of those little plugs for these things. They're actually for these, but those are the same size. And they were supposed to be here, and then they got delayed. Delivery date currently unavailable. Track package. They lost that fucking shit. They fucking lost. Yeah, get a refund or a replacement. Motherfuckers. It was in freaking Santa Clarita. Like, it's literally, I can drive there in an hour and a half and get my shit and come back home. Like, it's 3 hours from me. It made it all the way to Santa Clarita. All right. So we're going to order a replacement. Says, just so you know, your item is transient now, so you might not be able to cancel. No. It is never coming. It hasn't gotten here yet. So it's a little bag. It's just like the one that you just saw for the freaking Fluke. But in either case, it plugs those things. So nothing can get into there and nothing can get into that, right? So if you want to buy a C-amp, you have to pull this thing out and you have to know that you're doing so. Which means if you get buzzed by doing so, well, you know, you didn't have to take the fucking plug off. Buy a socket bias tool. So the reason I am doing it this way is, so the last giveaway amp that I did, right? It was a cathode bias amp. So, I mean, you have to go in and physically change a device anyway. So I'm not really worried about cathode bias amps and having to pull the thing out. To me, there's no point in having bias adjust screws on the outside of the amp if you can't actually get to the parts you need to bias, which means you have to get those inline plugs that they make. By the inline plugs, I mean the ones that the socket adapters, right? Well, that costs money. I've already spent the money for you. I already put bias adjust in there. What's another freaking $5 part, right? I mean, the hole cost me more money to put in there than the part itself. So putting these things in there so you can measure all that, I just feel I may as well give you the HT. Now, to clarify a couple things so that people don't get confused. You don't necessarily have to have this, right? I could just say, put your bias probes in this thing and get to X number, right? I could say get to 38 milliamps, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter what pair of tubes you go in there. I want you to hit 38 milliamps. That's not the truth, though. 38 milliamps doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It's 38 milliamps at X voltage, right? So this is measuring the HT. So this is measuring the voltage on the plate of the tube. So 38 millivolts might change. It might not even be 38 millivolts. So we're shooting for like 60% on this amp, right? So 60% of whatever dissipation of that tube might be, right? So we've got two 25-watt tubes in here, 60%. So we're shooting for like, well, I don't know what it is, 16, 17 watts or something, right? That's what we're shooting for in terms of plate dissipation. Well, the way that you can do that is measure the HT voltage, so you know what the HT is, and then you measure the drop over the cathode resistor that we put in there. So we put a 1 ohm resistor so that whatever you measure there will relate as if it were cathode current, right? Now, cathode current is all the current through the tube, all the current, not just the plate, but the plate and the screens, okay? So if you're shooting for 60% and you measure it exactly to 60%, that includes the screens, measuring it the way that we're doing it right here, right? So we've got 6 little dials or 6 little ports right here to make that a possibility, which means you're actually probably biasing closer to like 58%. So you're actually, if you're shooting for 60% as a number, you're adding a little bit of safety in because it includes the screens. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's just a way to do it and a way to make it so you don't have to buy another tool. So that's why I'm doing it this way and why I'm putting an Angry Pixie part on the outside of the amp, is to make it so you don't have to take the amp out of the chassis. Because if there's nothing broken, you shouldn't have to take this thing out. It's a bitch and a half, and I don't want you to have to do it. So I put this in there to make it so you never have to. If the only thing that you're trying to solve or resolve is the bias of your power tubes. Now, obviously there will be some instruction. We will go over it when this amp actually gets turned on, because I will have to bias the amp, obviously. And hopefully by then I'll have the fucking plugs that I want. Yeah, no, that's true. So, well, we'll see what we can do. I mean, these things are nice and down in there, and the hope is that with the plugs, they won't get messed with. But obviously, if this gets won by somebody in Europe or something like that, they're going to have to switch the voltage, right? They're going to have to switch the voltage over to 230, excuse me. I can sort of test it at that voltage, and I will make an attempt to do so before it leaves the house. But I don't know exactly what your voltage is, and I don't know exactly what your situation is in another country. So when you plug it in and you go to turn it on, it might behoove you to do a little bias check just to make sure that it's still within range. Now at 60%, even if I set it for, let's just say 55%, it's within a realm of safety, but anything below 50% we could say is too cold. Anything above 60% we could say is too hot. Realistically speaking, you could ramp this thing up to 70%. No problem. No problem whatsoever ramping this thing up to 70%. The only reason I'm not really shooting for you to bias it that hot is that this amp is going to be very, very stout. Very, very stout. So it will probably produce better than 60 watts. Better than 60 watts at full tilt boogie, which means with this 50 watt output transformer, excuse me, you risk, if you're going to run it, full bore, if you're going to run it hot all the time, like the master volume is up, etc., you might want to bias this thing a little bit cooler, closer to 50, 55%, right in there, to try to keep the dissipation down as close to 50 watts as you can get it. If you're a bedroom player and it's never ever going to see a stage in its life, sure, you can ramp it up to 70% all day, no problem, right? Because it's never going to be really working that output transformer to the level where it's going to see a true 60 plus watts worth of actual dissipation going through it. And it's probably going to handle it just fine. It may not hurt it. My rule is kind of simple. If you can hear the output transformer rattling, it's probably a good indication that you need to turn it down. Most of them will. And you'll hear it. Like if you run it into a load box of some sort, like a Torpedo Captor X or whatnot, something like that. When you get the thing dimed up, at some point you're going to start to hear the little output transformer start to rattle. You'll hear it buzz with the notes that you're playing. It's not exactly good for it. I wouldn't say it's horrid or, it's detrimental. It's something I wouldn't plan on doing like that for a very long term, right? Like you're not going to get away with that for hours on end, forever. Occasionally, sure, it's going to handle it, no problem. But it's probably a good indication that you should probably just crack it back just a little bit. Get it so it's not rattling away like that. But that's up to you. If you want to treat this thing like a Ferrari, that's what it is. It's a fucking Ferrari. This is a Ferrari. This is your Bugatti. This is your Pagani, and McLaren, whatever you want to call it, of amplifiers. It will get you there. It will do what you want it to do. But, just because you can doesn't mean you should. With great power comes great responsibility. The other assumption for putting this here is that, you have a level of respect for what you have in your hands. This isn't a fucking toy. And we've made that a point multiple times. Not a toy. This is the real deal. This is the end of the line, right? If you are looking for the best that you can possibly get, this is that device. So it also requires you to have a level of, I don't know what they call it, a level of astuteness, I guess, respect, ability. You have to understand it enough to know that there's certain things you just can't do, right? Leaving speaker jacks unplugged and stuff like that. Probably not a good thing. There's not a whole lot of safety features built into this. I don't like using HT fuses. To me, it's a waste of fucking time to put an HT fuse in. Why? Let me answer that question, because some people probably don't understand why an HT fuse would or would not be used. A lot of people put them in there as a level of safety. It's kind of like a last resort, though. So the HT fuse, let's imagine that everything's all together and everything's built, and we've got our angry pixies going in this thing. I'm looking for an implement, right? So we got our plate, which I believe is pin 5. So if this is 2, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe our thing is I think it's 5, right? This is our plate, right? I believe it's 5. I can't remember. Whatever. We got our 400 volts sitting there, but the power transformer is only supplying maybe 250 milliamps on average, right? 250 milliamps is not all that much. 250 milliamps it's enough to kill you. It'll hurt. It'll definitely put the freaking sting on at whatever voltage it is. But in terms of current flow, it's not that much. So the lowest practical value fuse that you can get, this guy right here, right, fuse, is around 500 milliamps. So you have to have something very catastrophic happen before that fuse even breaks and will cut the HT rail. And if you put it in the center tap, it's even worse. So the center tap historically does not have a whole heck of a lot of current actually flowing through it. The reason is it is kind of technically an AC signal that's swinging through there. So one side is coming in, it's crossing 0. The other side comes in, it's crossing 0. So everything's kind of moving back and forth, but the average of it is very, very small. There's not a whole heck of a lot of current that really flows through the center tap of the transformers. Not a lot. So if you put the fuse there, you're really, really banking that something catastrophic has to go on wrong. Like literally you have to have the screen fuse itself to the plate, and then the plate fuse itself to the freaking heaters in order for that fuse to break. And by then, Lord knows whatever, like catastrophe is the least of your problems. Like making sure you're not plugged into the amp and that it's pulled from the wall is probably the bigger of your worries, because that shit's literally going up in smoke in a freaking hurry. That's like the worst of worst scenarios, right? So the other thing is that you can get too low of a value of HT resistor in there as well, or fuse in there as well. So again, when you turn these amps on, especially ones that use a lot of capacitance like this one's going to use, everything looks like a short when you turn that amp on. Whatever. Cool. We have some things to try to make it so it's not so crazy like that. That's what this guy is for, to try to resolve that. But when you turn the amp on, if you're using too low of a value of a resistor, a fuse for your HT, everything looks like a freaking short for a brief moment in time. And it's, enough to cause more than that 500 milliamps of current to flow through there. And that will cause it to trip prematurely. There might not actually be a problem. It might just be that, you got too much capacitance. So there's a bunch of different reasons why all this stuff comes together and works the way that it does, which is why I try to do things the way that I do. I want things to be obvious when there's a problem. And when I mean I want it to be obvious when there's a problem, if a tube starts to go and die, right, and it's starting to do shit it shouldn't, I don't want it to just kill the amp and turn it off. And then you go, oh man, it just blew the fuse. And then you stick another fuse in there and it goes kapoof and, blows another fuse. You don't know why it blew a fuse. You have no freaking clue why. So you go and you buy another set of tubes and it works. All right, inrush current, exactly, yeah. So you buy another set of tubes and it works, right? You put the new thing in there, but that doesn't tell you what the problem was. It could have been the tube. It could have been something else. I want it to be fucking obvious that there was a problem with that tube. it goes into meltdown. Like something, you hear it. Like you'll know right a freaking way, right? You'll know right away something's wrong. Like the volume is going to drop in half. Something's going to happen, and it's going to be obvious. Like this thing isn't doing what it's supposed to do. And you're going to look around, and you're going to turn around at your amp. And what do you know? I make it so you can see all those parts. You can see into the front of the amp. You can see that tube sitting there cooking away, doing shit that it shouldn't freaking be doing. You know, red plating or sparks flying out of it, smoke billowing out, whatever it might be. You whack that freaking power off, you know something is wrong. That means you now have no choice but to get into this thing and figure out what the hell the problem is. First thing you should do, buy a new set of tubes, right? If you're going to have a problem that's that obvious, that you can see smoke billowing out and there's a tube that's glowing red and you see sparks flying out of it, whatever, the volume drops in half, first thing first, buy a new set of tubes. Have a set ready. If you put a new set of tubes in and it does the same thing right away, there's obviously something deeper. You need to get into this thing and figure that out. The hope is that that never happens. And in theory, you should never have to worry about it. For the most part, it's just tubes that are going to die. Tubes die. Those are the weak link. That is the hope anyway. But that's not to say that other shit doesn't happen. But, you know, I don't want to put safety measures that's going to hide anything from you, because those safety measures can give you false positives, a la center tap fuses or fuses in the HT rail. And because I have enough capacitance in this thing that it is going to be an issue, and when I say an issue, like when this amp turns on, it is pulling some current. That's why we put this guy in here. That's what this guy's for, to slow that down. So that is it. That is all. You little bitch. It went for a run. Hold on, we'll get it. I found it. So it's not that I don't care about the safety aspect of it. You yourself are fine. You're never going to be hurt by being plugged into the amp and having it go tits up. It should never go tits up, but if it does, you're separated enough by it that you yourself have nothing to worry about. It's going to make an awful noise. Smoke's going to billow out. You're going to see a light show. Something's going to be obviously wrong. You're going to be able to see inside of your amp, because that's the way I make my amps. I make it so you can see those tubes. And there's a mirror even behind it, so you can really see what the fuck's going on. If you can't see it, then you weren't paying attention. And you're going to know. Obviously, you just need to do some work. As much as I want to make this a lifetime warranty amp, obviously there's some things I can't warranty. Tubes are one of the things I cannot warranty. They go south. That's just it, you know. If you drive a car, you're going to use the rubber on the tires. You're going to have to change the tires eventually. Eventually, you're going to have to change the oil. Eventually, you're going to have to change the brakes. Eventually, you're going to have to change something, right? I've never met a pair of wiper blades that have made it more than a few freaking years before they don't work right. That sort of thing. So the tubes are the wiper blades, right? If you want to play clean and have, you know, this clean, clear sight of your world as the amp is playing, you're going to have to change them on occasion. It's very, very true, though, what they say. Right about the time the amp sounds like it's the best it's ever going to freaking be, like you can't believe how glorious this thing sounds, it's probably when the tubes are going to burn up and go kaput. I don't know why, but... So this is what I was... yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. We'll clean it up. We'll make it so that fits a little bit better. The effects loop, that is. I'm getting tired, you guys. I've been yip-yapping for 2 hours. I sat on my soapbox for a while. I gave you some of my political opinion, whether it's valid or not. I showed you that everything fits. We have decided that we are going to go with black knobs with white indicators. Always be... Yes, this, yeah, exactly, Lone Dog. Like, you're going to see it being put together. So you can kind of reverse engineer it however you need to. Do not copy the schematic, though. I have to do some research. I got to figure out how I'm going to do a couple things. I need to figure out how I want to run the wires for the biasing system. Doing that live is going to be brutal. Trying to show you these plates in real time would have also just been brutal. Like I said, I got out here at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't done with these plates until 3 o'clock this afternoon, 3:45 or something like that. I had to do 2 sets, not 1, but 2, because you know how you done it right, you done it twice. I'll try to make it so you, in the next video that we do, that you can see those videos. I did take a couple little snippets on my phone to try to show you guys, but I biffed it earlier when I was creating this video. I hit go too soon. You have an option to pick like the time you want to start, and I put it at 4:40 instead of 5 or 5:30 or whatever the hell it was. I didn't think about that when I was in my haste to get out here and do this for you, but we are going to figure out how these are going to go in, how I want to do those. I won't do it without you, I promise. I just need to figure out how I'm going to do it. I need to kind of suss out where everything on this is going to land. I can't build this until after all this shit is kind of done, which means I got to have all the backside stuff done, and then I can put this in here and then kind of build around all that. So thank you, Lone Dog. I appreciate that. That was my biggest fear. So even the original ones, the very first set, the front plate came out fine. Like, this was usable. Like, I would run with it. It was just fine. The only thing that was kind of a bummer was up in here where you can see it like chipped the, I don't know why, I don't know how, but it chipped the white away a little bit. But again, you'd only see like a couple little nicks in that little corner there, right? Just a little couple nicks. But the back plate, those were not in the right spot. So I'm not showing some of this stuff because it's kind of pointless. Like, most people don't have an LED, not an LED, like a laser a laser machine. Most people don't have a laser machine, so it's like, I'm going to show you something that you can't do anyway, and it's just a light show. Like, there's nothing to really see. It's just this machine moving back and forth and burning out like faceplates. There's not much to it. It's certainly not interesting. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's worth your time. But like, literally, could you imagine like 5 or 6 hours of that? No, you can't. That's why I'm so tired right now. So anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for the couple hours that you did. Even though it doesn't look like we've made progress, we've made a lot of progress. We needed those faceplates done. They're done. So that means I really have no excuse now other than to get the rest of this stuff kind of going. So tomorrow I've got a lot to do. I've got to do honeydews and things like that. So I'm probably not going to do a live tomorrow. I'll probably spend that time doing some of my other shit that I got to do. I got to put out a couple of quotes for some future gigs I got coming up. I have to obviously come up with a plan for how I'm going to wire these things in there. I kind of need to make a... Fuck you, little bug. Jesus. I got a fly running around out in the garage out here. But, and then, I just got to kind of come up with a game plan for how we're going to continue on this path here. It seems evident at this point in time that I need to think ahead a little bit further, because there are some challenges with how this thing has to go together, and yet still be able to be taken apart. As much as as we already know, this guy has to go in first before anything else, right? This has to go in first. Well, what else has to go in first, right? And everything else has to go with a faceplate attached to it. So I don't want to be putting the faceplate on before I put the power transformers and output transformers. I got to come up with all that stuff. I got to figure that out. So I can't thank you all enough for hanging out with me and all that jazz. But in the meantime, you guys take care. We'll probably so Monday I have to go drop off a bunch of equipment. For those of you who don't know, I run a sound company, And it's kind of like my moonlight gig. I used to be a sound engineer full time. I don't really do it much anymore, but I cherry pick. There are gigs that I take when it makes sense. I have a rental coming up where they need 8 of my monitors. Those are going away on Monday. So tomorrow and Monday we may not do anything. But Tuesday we are going to hit this freaking hard with an intent to get it running by next weekend. So stick with me, but take care. Thank you all so much. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.